Good morning, DS for HS. Let's get into it. So today, we're going to have our third video talking about expanding our Python vocabulary. Now, we're going to expand our Python vocabulary by importing modules and mastering the dot notation with the Python dir built-in function. Now, in the last two lessons, what we've seen was the surprisingly small number of Python keywords, built-in functions, and error messages. Now, this surprisingly low number should be a eureka moment, should be a relief, because it shows us that Python really isn't that hard. It's not that intimidating. You just have to know the small number of finite set number of keywords, built-in functions, and error messages, and then you're good. So it's really a breath of fresh air. Now, in this lesson, what we're going to see is how our Python vocabulary can be expanded by using the Python import statement to bring in customized libraries of Python code for specialized purposes. Now, for data science in general as an industry, libraries like this include Berkeley Data Science Library. It's called the Data Science Library, and how we import it is import data science or from data science import table. So from the data science module, we're only going to import a section of that module, and that's the table section. And there's more information right here at data8.org/datascience. Then we're going to be importing the pandas library by doing import pandas. We can just do import pandas, but to make it easier, we're going to import pandas as PD, so give it a little bit of an abbreviation so we don't have to type out the whole word all the time. Then we're going to import the NumPy library by doing import NumPy as NP. And then same thing with the matplotlib library. This is going to help us visualize data. Import matplotlib.pyplot or pyplot as PLT. And there's the web links at the end of these if you want to go into more depth and description. Now, one thing that makes Python so unique is that Python has thousands more libraries and modules that you can import. One thing that will happen is if you go to Python package index at pypy.org, you'll get a sense of how big and expansive the number of Python modules really are. Now, this makes it very, very attractive and unique to use Python. The enormous worldwide community of developers are contributing to expand Python's capabilities, especially in hot fields like data science, AI, and machine learning. Now, we're going to learn about accessing imported Python code with Python's dot notation. Now, Python's dot notation is really, really important. When you import a Python module, it's important to know that you can explore what attributes and methods the module possesses using the dot notation and the Python built-in function dir. Now, we have seen Python's dot notation in several of our previous videos, so we've seen it before. Using the dot notation, we're able to access Python's string and list methods. So the dot allows us to create a method and access those methods. Now let's take a review by reviewing and doing some hands-on practice with the dot notation right now. So here we have cat, the string cat, and like it says, using the dot notation, we're able to access Python string and list methods. So here's a string, so we're going to be able to access a string method, dot, hit the tab key, boom, and it shows us all the methods. Now here, IPython is a bit confusing because it calls methods functions, but a method is a function called by an object, or in layman's terms, it's basically a method is a type of function. So here we have all these methods. It says functions, but they're really methods because of the dot after it. And let's do dot lower, add the parentheses, boom, and I gotta comment this out. Boom, and it gives us cat in lowercase. Let's do, we'll just do upper, and it gives us cat in uppercase. So the dot notation allowed us to access list methods, and it showed us by hitting the tab key, so we do dot tab key, and it shows us all the possible string methods here. And that's really, really cool. And it's the same thing for a list. So here we have a list, and now we have a dot. Here it already says dot count, but we're going to tab it out, and it gives us all the list methods right here. And let's do dot sort. Boom. And it sorted it for us. It didn't show us. We'll do dot count. That'll show us something. And we're going to count the amount of times 3 is in the list. Boom, and 3 is in the list one time. Boom. So that's what it did. The dot notation allowed us to access methods for lists and strings. And by doing the dot tab, hitting the tab key after typing the dot, it shows us all the possible methods for that string or list. Now, what we're going to be doing is exploring Python's dot notation with Python's dir built-in function. Dir, or dir, is a useful general purpose built-in Python function, and this allows us to see what Python calls names in its object-oriented programming framework. Here is the official description of the dir function from python.org, and it is, without arguments, dir returns the list of names in the current local scope of a given Python session. With an argument, dir attempts to return a list of valid attributes for that object. You can click here for the description. Now, while this can be confusing, and I know it will be, but once we get it, it'll be easy like Sunday morning. You will see the power of dir by actually using the function. So us running the function will help you understand it. Like I said, what we do in this class is proof by Python, hands-on work to help us understand a concept. Now let's run dir and see what we get. One of the points provided in the description above is that it returns a list of data structures. So let's get into it. So let's explore dir by opening a separate Python terminal session in JupyterLab right here. Don't worry about all this up here. Just worry about I'm right here, my mouse is right here. So we're using the dir function. Dir, dir, boom, enter. It gives us these four. Now these four are already defined, and we're going to come back here, and it says, notice how few Python objects exist by default. Here's one Python object seen here, bulletins. Let's run dir on this. So now we're going to run dir bulletins. Let's check it out. So there's only these four objects that are the default, but let's see what it is. And bulletins is a module. Let's see what it gives us. Boom. Name bulletins. Did I spell it wrong? I think I did. Yeah, I think I put too many. I put built. Oh, I misspelled built-in. Excuse me, guys. Built-in. Boom. And there it is. Look at that. Sorry about that. It shows us all the warning and error messages. I know we did this in a previous notebook, but it shows us everything. And guys, look, it's not that many. It's not that many. So it shows us that Python really isn't that intimidating. Now, notice, now we're going to define right here a variable called pet1. So let's do it. Pet1 equals cat. So pet1 is equal to the string cat. Enter. So now when we call pet1, we get cat. Now let's do the same thing. Let's just do dir. Boom. And now if you look at it, when we did dir before it was only 4 objects, now it's 5. It shows us all the defined variables. Pet's a defined variable, and it showed us all the defined variables. Now let's do the same thing, excuse me, with pet2, and it's going to be added to the display by dir. So let's do it. So let's do pet2 equals, and then we'll make it a list. So we'll put dog, cat, enter, and then dir, boom. And now we have these defaults, and then pet1, and then pet2, because we just defined pet2, and pet2 defined is the list consisting the dog, I misspelled it, and cat. So you see it added to the dir display. So it shows us everything that's defined. Now, let's go into our next cell. Now let's return to our Jupyter notebook. So forget about using your terminal anymore. Let's get back into this. We're going to run dir inside of here. So let me comment this out real quick. So it's just dir. And there's a lot more stuff. That's its default. A lot more. But see how it gives us this ugly list with dir? This ugly long list. You have to scroll all the way down. It's all this white space. It's a waste of space. Now, let's do it with a print function. The print's going to be a lot cleaner. Boom, and it's a lot cleaner. It's the same list, but it's a lot cleaner, a lot more condensed, a lot easier to read. It's compact, gets rid of the waste of white space, and it's really, really helpful. So run dir with the Python print function to get a more compact display of all of its list elements. So it's just a more efficient way to read this list. Now, using the list comprehension Python grammar we learned in our previous lesson, let's create a list comprehension to run dir without displaying all these internal IPython numbered objects starting with an underscore. So remember, all these internal IPython number objects start with an underscore. So all those things with an underscore, let's just forget about it. Once again, check out the beauty of a list comprehension. So unlike a for loop, where it's multiple lines, a list comprehension can fit on a single line. And it gives us minimum keywords and minimum grammar. So we're going to fit this list comprehension and assign it to the variable clean dir. So for I and I, so for every object in dir, make a list if it does not start with an underscore. And then let's print clean dir. So all of the dir items beginning with underscore are gone. Boom. And that's what it did. It gave us everything if not starts with underscore. And that's what it did. Give us everything without that's not starting with an underscore. Now let's import the data science Python module and explore its associated Python object-oriented attributes. So here, import data science, and we just imported it. And so here we did clean dir again, so for I, and dir data science, if not, starts with. So it's saying the dir, so we did the dir function for the data science module. So it looked through the data science module, showed everything that was already defined, and said, give us the same thing. So if not starts with underscore, then you give it to us. Make a list and put that list into clean dir. So saying, get everything that does not start with underscore, and then print it. And now we can see many data science specific Python attributes associated with the data science module. So everything here is associated with the data science module. And then we're going to just check the type that data science is, and it says it right here. It's a module. So yeah. Now, let's use the Python dot notation to see what Python attributes are associated with the data science dot table object. So here we're doing the same thing. But instead of just data science, we're doing data science dot table. So that's a subset of the data science directory. Of the data science module. So instead of the entire data science module, we're just going to do a subset of the table part inside of the data science module. And if not, starts with I. So let's see what's associated with that. So it's boom, and it's a lot more stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in the table section of the data science module. And we see that we got an even more expanded vocabulary of Python attributes associated with the data science table object. The Python dir function with list comprehension is powerful to drill down to see what Python attributes are associated with objects. So it's a really, really great tool. Now guys, in this lesson, we explored the Python dot notation and the Python dir built-in function. We also have seen throughout all of these DS4HS sessions and videos that the Python dot notation is very, very helpful, but it is also used to associate specific attributes to specific Python objects or types. Now, the most common Python object we have focused on is the Python method. We have seen how the dot notation is associated with specific Python methods to specific Python objects. Now, what we mean by that is, in this lesson, we have seen how the general purpose Python built-in function dir can allow you to check to see what objects have been created in a given Python session. And it also allows us to see what attributes are associated with specific Python objects. Now, as you'll see in future DS4HS lessons and videos, and perhaps any other lessons that you're taking that teaches you Python, the following 3 general purpose built-in functions will apply and will be increasingly significant. That's the type function, the dir function, and the help function. We've gone over all these functions, but we're going to go over them and review them even more with hands-on material in further videos. So it's just going to help you build up those skills with these functions. Now, it will also help us provide insights to the overall structure and operation of Python, which will in turn help you become a better student of Python. Now, you will use this combination of Python built-in functions for both code development and troubleshooting in your future Python journey, which will be extremely important skills to have, and you'll be glad that you knew and reviewed these functions and this material. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye.